And I'm Valeria, and hi, welcome everybody to Mexico. And we are from ASF, American School Foundation in Mexico City. And we're very happy to be with you here today.
So we're going to present our project, and what we do is we go every Sunday and to an orphanage that we found, that is in a really rural area, like in a little town, and it's kind of a poor orphanage, and we teach English to the kids there. So.
So what is our mission? Our mission was to create a fun and safe environment for children in the orphanage for learning. These children come from really harsh backgrounds. They come from the DIF, which is another foundation that gives them to them, which is a government-based foundation that relocates the children in orphanages or families. And these children come from families with drugs or abuse, and they have really big problems in adapting to a new safe environment. So that is what we are trying to provide with them through learning.
So what they told us when we went to the orphanage is that we needed to be consistent, and we needed for the kids to be involved in the actual project. So we need to be consistent because these kids, they've gone through so many changes. Like, for example, we went once just to play before we started the project, and one of the kids asked us, "Are you gonna return?" And we were like, "Yes, of course we're gonna return." And he actually said "I don't believe you," and we had to sign a letter saying we're gonna come back because they don't believe that you're gonna come back. They're have really hard trust issues. So what we try to do is be consistent, and we go every single week so that they know us, and we create this safe environment where they can learn. Okay, so the basics of our project are that every Sunday we go to this orphanage. It's called Quinta, Carmelita, and it's in the south of Mexico City. And we go there 1 hour a week from 10 to 11. And we meet every Wednesday to create the class we're going to have on Sunday, because it's really important to plan ahead, because if not, we just get there and it's a big mess. And we play and teach English to the kids.
Yeah, and a little bit of background on who's helping us. We have a great teacher that we met in middle school when we were in 7th grade called Mr. Cox, and he's an awesome teacher who goes there every Sunday and is just as committed as we are, and he helps us a lot, and he's given us a lot of guidance, and we love him because he's so committed and he always helps, and he's always been behind us, helping us, pushing the project, which has always been great.
So now I wanted to talk to you a little bit about La Quinta Carmelita, which is the orphanage we go to. So it's this place that, so there are many orphanages in Mexico City, but most of them are focused more on the part that when they get out of the orphanage, they'll have a life. So in the orphanage, they focus on teaching them how to get that life. So the difference of this orphanage and La Quinta Carmelita is that La Quinta Carmelita works really hard to find these children families. And this is not what many orphanages do, because in Mexico it's really hard to get through the process of adoption, and it normally takes about 4 years. This is because when they give you the kid, if it has their birth certificate, you have to make sure that every single relative ever to live knows that the child is abandoned and doesn't want it. So they have to put it in newspapers, they have to go to the towns they lived in, they have to tell everyone that this kid is abandoned to make sure that the grandmother doesn't want him and wants to adopt him. So after all of this is done, and they've made sure that nobody wants the baby, then they can adopt, and you begin the normal adoption process, which also takes a long while. So the Quinta Carmelita has really good lawyers, and that's what they're focused on. They don't focus on teaching the kids how to live after that. So this is why the orphanage is only from kids from babies to 10-year-old. That's the limit. And unfortunately, after they're 10 years old, they have to go to one of these homes where they teach them, cooking and how to have a home and things like that.
And we've talked to a lot of the nannies that take care of the children, and they say how fast they go, how quick the process is. They get there, and as soon as the process is done, they leave, because this is what the orphanage is really focused on. But not only that, before they prepare them to go to a home, and since they come from, they have been physically or emotionally abused since they were born, they have to go, they provide them with a lot of psychologists and and places where they can be reintegrated into society and have a healthy environment once they get once they get placed into a home and have a healthy relationship with their parents.
So like the difference is that this orphanage really cares. Like for example, I would like to share a story with you of this girl that is called Jessie, and she was gonna get adopted by this couple in Europe, in Spain. And so what they do is they have like this kind of meeting with the parents. Like for example, one Sunday they go out to eat with them. Then the next they have one night. They spend one night with the parents. Then they spend a week. And like that, so that they get to know each other. And this girl, she really didn't get along with the parents. She didn't want to go to Spain. She just didn't feel it with those parents, so she didn't live with them. Because they have to make sure that the child will be reintegrated to society, like when they get to the parents. So because this girl wasn't clicking with them, they had to let them go, and she didn't go with them. And fortunately, they already find a family here in Mexico for her, and she's really happy. So we have a short video for La Quinta Carmelita, but we're gonna show it at the end because I don't think the speakers are connected.
Yeah. So what are our methods? This is a really important thing so you can understand our process and how we teach them. We have 3 main methods, and we will develop them further, but just to explain you, we first we give them a workbook or colorable worksheets with actions or drawings, for example, a flower, and you say paint the color you want, but this is a flower, and you talk to them about flower, and you make the comparison, and you talk to them about it so they can develop their idea in their mind. Then we play games such as hide and seek, and once when we were teaching them the clothing like shirt, pants, shoes, we made a game and we brought a bunch of old clothes and we would tell them, okay now, and we would make teams and put the clothes at another end of where we were playing and say, go run and get a shirt and get a cap or get glasses or whatever. So they really have to use the words we're teaching them every single class. So first we have like a process where we develop every word. And third, we do a short play at the end where we use the words again, and we do plays like Aladdin, improvising them, and it's really fun, or The Lion King, and we use the words we learned in that. We taught them at the beginning of the class and then developed in the game at the final play, which is really fun. And we first do it in English, and then we do it in Spanish, so they can make the comparison and understand what we're talking about.
And that's like everybody's favorite part, because we're just like goofing around, just like singing like Frozen, and they're like singing along with us, but we first sing it in English and then in Spanish, so that they can make like the comparison, and they know how it looks like to speak in English. Like for example, Mr. Cox is he only speaks English, and he goes there every single time. And like the kids always ask us like, do you know how to speak like him? And we're like, yes. And they're like, can you teach me? So it's really important for them to see like how the language looks. And so throughout the year, we've been doing this for 3 years, and we've changed our methods a lot. Like at the beginning, we just went and played the game, which didn't really work. It was just a mess. And then we tried just coloring, and we tried to do tests and quizzes, and it just wasn't working until this year we found this combination. So what we did is, my little sister is also learning English in a school for English, and we went there and we asked, how do you do this? And they told us about this workbooks that are really, really good. And they gave us one so we could photocopy it. So we got 7 copies. And what we do is we have coloring sheets just like an egg with a happy face, and we're like, this egg is happy. I don't know. And then we say, if you behave well for like 5 classes, we'll give you a workbook, which is really important for them, because like owning things isn't really they don't have that a lot. For example, the clothes they share with everyone, the toys they share with everyone. So when they own something, it's really important to them. So we're like, you behave, you'll get this workbook that are really, really, really good quality workbooks. So we found this combination, and we believe this is what best works. So it was really important for us to develop it through the years.
And another huge part of our project is that it's Montessori inspired. We'll talk a little bit about the Montessori system in a little bit, but 3 of our 4 main members, or like the committee, I guess, went to Montessori schools. And we went there up to 5th or 6th grade of primary school, so we were really versed in what it meant and how much impact it had on us. So we said this system, and this is what we started, like our twist or what we started implementing this year. So we said this worked great for us, and we do really great in school, and we love being involved, going to gym, we love speaking up, we do debate. So we said that has a great impact on us. So we have to give it to them because that empowered us when we were little, and this should empower them, especially when they come from very, very harsh backgrounds. So what the Montessori inspired is because we do a lot of hands-on activities, and what Montessori is all about is about the joy of a teacher when the child does it on their own. When you teach them something and they are now proud enough and happy enough and well-versed enough in what you're teaching them that they do it alone, and they enjoy doing it alone, and you don't have to force them or tell them do this, do that. They come to an environment and they decide to work, they decide, and they have a passion for what they're doing, and that is all what we are about. That's all what our project is really based on.
Okay, so we did this slide about why is English important, like why we chose to go and teach these kids English. So what our project is really about is not only about the language English, but creating this fun and safe environment. So we have those both areas, and we believe that teaching English is important first because of brain development. So we know that like by learning new languages, our brain like works a lot faster. And even though we're not going there and they're not like learning fluently the language, it does help them. And like when we get there, we also ask last class's words, so we know what's happening and we know like if the kids are learning and everything. And like their brain works faster, and it's proven that happens. And also job opportunities, because like in Mexico, the amount of people who speak English are a lot less than the people who don't, and we know we're not like teaching them how to speak fluently, right? But we're teaching, like we're creating this interest in the language English so that they can then build on it, and it does help a lot to speak English in Mexico to get a job. And because these kids are like from an orphanage, maybe they will need it, unfortunately, like when they go to these other homes, and then they'll just leave on their own. So it's really important for them to get a job.
And another great part of these kids that get adopted abroad. We've heard stories of kids that go to Italy a lot, that go to the United States or other parts in South America. So it is important for them to learn another language because, like she said earlier, this is a root. We're planting a root in a child, which is also what Montessori is all about. We're giving them a small push and telling and introducing them to this foreign language that is going to help them with all of these things, but it's also going to push them to do better things in the future and get interested in the language, which then can help them in the future. Another great part is self-esteem. Like we said previously, they come from very, very harsh backgrounds, and they have terrible stories and have gone through so much, and it's very hard for them. So if you're believing in them, if you're giving them a chance and saying, I'm going to teach you this because I think you can handle it, I think you're going to do great, and I think you're going to develop, you're giving them self-esteem, you're believing in them. And like we said previously, a lot of kids are abandoned, or a lot of families come, talk to them for a little bit, and then leave. So they have this sense of abandonment, and that nobody really takes a step back and gives them a chance. So this is what we're giving them. We're giving them a chance.
And also with self-esteem, like when they learn a word, you literally see like the smiles on their face, like, yes, I know this word. So even if it's just one word, they're so happy they learned it, and they go around showing everyone like, yes, this is table, and they're like really happy about it. So we also create like this, like, I can learn this word so I can learn everything else.
And finally, it complements the first language. So a lot of the Montessori-based theories as well is that a kid from 0 to 6 and from 6 to 12 is a huge sponge that just absorbs everything around them. So if they're still struggling to learn a first language and having grammar in their school and whatnot, this helps them improve that. This helps them exceed that, and also, not only do I know this, but I know that. So it's complementing, it's very productive to have both things in the same area.
Okay, so here's what we said about not many people having jobs, getting to know English. So here's, in Mexico, it's only 12.5% of the population that speaks English. So we believe that not only would they be like in this minority, which also gives them an advantage in jobs, but they do need the advantage because they are kids that were abandoned, that do have the situations, and that will need the advantage in the future, and that do need the inspiration to start learning English because any other way they wouldn't.
And more in Mexico, even simple jobs like serving coffee, they require you to speak English. Even a little, like, hello ma'am, how are you, good morning, or what do you want? Simple things that we will start planning on them, and even simple words that will help them in the future, because jobs in Mexico are now centered about a lot on this USA and English-speaking based economy, so we need to help them get jobs, and this is a great opportunity for them.
So this is just a little like our team, and so it's like the main people in our team, but we do try to get more people that need community service or that just want to see how it is to come. But we're the ones that come like every single day, every single Sunday, and also Mr. Cox also comes with us. So we've been here since 2012, and Emilio has been here since 2014, and basically we're the ones who go to every single meeting, get things done, and everything. And like in 2012, it's also important to note that our project was completely different. We also plan on doing drives and doing these things, but like as I have said, we have to look at the priorities of the orphanage. And like, for example, they told us like, no, we get a lot of clothes, we get a lot of food. We just want you to come and be with the kids. Like, that's what they need, like for someone to come and hug them and, you know, play with them, because that's what the kids need. Like, that's what they need right now. And we did a book drive, an English book drive, and we do use the books, but we haven't done more drives right now because we're concentrating more on getting the kids to learn.
And we're also investing a lot, like how she said previously, in photocopying workbooks and getting inspiration from other English teachers so that we can use it. And we've even talked to a lot of kindergarten teachers in our school that are great and are always helping us and giving us tips on how to improve it. After 3 years, this is what it has come down to, a great project that we've seen work on the kids. It's been awesome, and we absolutely love it. But it was a hard road. We did make a lot of mistakes, and we had to go through a lot to fix them. And it was great. We learned a lot along the way, and we learned the importance of the Montessori seed that was placed in us, and how we could give back what we learned and what was so important to us. So this was great, and we learned a lot, and we valued a lot the education that we had. So it was absolutely amazing.
And we've also discovered how hard it is to teach at an orphanage, because, for example, last month they told us, like, when you first got here, it was a completely different batch of kids than the one we have now. So every single kid that 3 years ago was there has been adopted. Not the babies, because we don't teach the babies. They stay upstairs and we play in the garden. But every single kid that we have played with was adopted. So it is really hard, because, for example, if we teach clothes, and then the next week comes this new girl, she doesn't know clothes, and then we're teaching you how, like, red shirt, and she doesn't know how to say, like, shirt or red. So it is really, really hard, and we do have to maybe, like, sometimes just talk to someone privately, like me or her will go separately with the child, and then the rest of our team will stay playing with the other kids. But it is a challenge because of this change in the kids.
And we've seen the effect through a lot of time on the kids. We had one of our favorite kids called Fabian. He was a real good kid when he had a lot of older kids with him at the beginning when we first started. And then they got adopted. He started being the rebel, the one that didn't listen, the one that didn't want to do things and encourage the other children to not listen or want to be in the classroom either. So we had to invest a lot of time in him and teaching him the importance of what we were doing and how he should see the others as brothers and sisters, and he should want the best for them. And that really worked for us, because for the last 3 classes we've all seen how he's improved, how he's say, vente aquí, vamos a todos aprender, let's come, let's all work together, and that's been just amazing. To see with our own eyes the work we've put and the seed we've planted and the product of our mistakes and our successes, and it just has been amazing.
Okay, so for the twist, we realized one of our biggest challenges was that the kids are kind of crazy and destructive. So we just got there and we were like, let's play, and they came and they hit us. And they would we gave each kid a chocolate, for example, and the older kids would just take it from the younger ones. And so we were like, okay, we don't only need to teach English, but we have to implement something that's not okay, because it was putting a toll on our class, because we couldn't teach the kids. They were always praying around. And for example, there's two kids, Fabian and Nayeli, that are the older ones, and they were always in the tumbling, throwing things at everyone, and we're like, no, don't go with them, I don't know what. And they're we have to go and we have to sit down with them and be that's not okay. So what we did this year, for the twist of what we've been doing the other years, we created palettes that are one side they say yes and the other they say no.
It's like ping pong palettes.
And so, for example, if someone does something really good, we go yes, and we give candy at the end. So if they do really bad, something really bad, we take away the candy. But if they just push someone or something, we say no, that's not okay. And we make sure everybody hears no, pushing, and then we say pushing is and the kids have to say no. So in Spanish, obviously, because they're not that advanced, but they have to say no, and we also they also learn the words yes and no. But for example, empujar no es un, and they have to say no. So that's the kind of thing we did, because we were really just what is going on, because they are kind of distracted.
And like we said previously, we have seen how this works. We have seen the product of our own success, and how this, along with all the other methods, and also not only do we say no, and we don't really try not to yell at them or something, but we take them away. We say no, so everybody can see that what they're doing is wrong, and we take them to a corner and we say, okay, what you're doing is wrong because you're disrupting something that is good for you, and we specify something that is very important. We say we're here for you. We're not forced to be here. We don't want to hurt you or make you angry or disrupt you, but we want to be here for you, and that is the most important thing. We are here to help you. We're here to help your peers. We're here to help your brothers and sisters, and we're here to help make your situation better. So why are you treating us like this, or your peers like this? So we make sure that they see the importance of good behavior, and that it is rewarded as well, not only through more activities or games, but also through candy
and the workbooks that we printed.
Yeah.
So for the future, our first is to become a club at ASF, but because all of our members are kind of involved in everything, we haven't been able to. We work exactly the same as a club, but we're just not a club. So we meet, we have a teacher advisor, we meet every Wednesday, we do the activity, we have enough members, but we just aren't a club yet. We haven't done the paperwork, so that's our first goal.
Then we have to get more people involved, and we have 5 or 6 members that go every Sunday, and if one of us can't go, there's always a replacement. So and they talk to them she'll be here next week. She just had desayuno, or she had to go somewhere. So they see that you're always going to be there for them, and if not, there's going to be someone else backing them up always, which is really important. And also, community service we see as a great part in a teenager's life, because it is important to help other people, and especially in our school where a lot of kids are self-absorbed and have a lot of money and don't really care. And we've seen this. For example, at the end of every lunch, we see all the trash in the floor, and you have and it's so ironic, because you have the most resources, you're the most educated, but you still can't do a simple task as grab your trash and put it in the trash can, which is so disappointing. So we see that planning this group of community service is extremely important in our community as teenagers, and as the population who is probably gonna govern Mexico or be economists, or so we have to plant the seed, which is extremely important.
And also we want to incorporate more teaching methods, maybe try to have more advanced placement for kids that have been here a while and know a lot, or something like that. But right now we're just working on getting everything together. together to the same plan, to the same level. But we would like to have other teaching methods.
And we also want to help other organizations. We've seen, this was like our business planner, our guinea pigs. We tried everything with them, and until it worked great, which is what happened this year, I think we're ready to take this to other organizations or help other kids in our school who are trying to do the same, or in other schools, which is amazing and great for us too, because we feel like teachers. We're like, okay, we did this, so you can do this too, which is really fun for us and great, because we see how much we've learned as not only students but as teachers.
And we also want to have more activities and supply for the kids. Because right now we're not a club or anything, we don't have any financial support from our school, so we have to do everything ourselves. We take we buy candy every week, but we take turns bringing the candy. And for the workbooks, we bought them, we paid for the photocopying and everything. So we really wanna get some money and get some we have markers that we had used from our home and everything, but we want to get something for the kids. And with this, we also want to send letters to Crayola and things like that, because I'm sure if we tell them our situation, they'll give us three boxes of markers or something like that. Just send messages to people so we can get more supplies and the class can be better. I mean.
So finally, we wanted to end with this very powerful quote that would lead perfectly into our activity. So, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And this is what we believe is our statement, what each of our members believe in, and what we're really doing this for. Because we see all the problems that Mexico faces and many other countries in the world. And we feel as a group and as a team that education is what will change the world. That empowering children, not only minorities like orphans, but all types of children all around the world, the way to solve the problems of the world, the major problems in the world, is education.
And also because we are really involved, almost all the members in our group, we have seen through debate tournaments, we have seen through MUN and stuff like that, that every time a problem comes up, the solution is kind of always linked to the education. So that's why we try to get on that road of educating people.
For example, recycling, education, terrorism, education. All these types of problem, education, education, education. So we just saw this pattern, and we feel like that activity will help you realize why education is so important.
Okay, so I'm gonna give a paper to each partner, and if you could divide it in two, and then write your country and the biggest issue it has ever faced.
Or for example, don't put very
or
specific.
that it's facing.
But don't be very specific. Like a general thing, drug dealing or terrorism. I don't think a lot of countries face terrorism in Latin America or something like that. Or economic crisis or something.
El país y como un problema como uno de los más grandes. O que a ti se te hace o sea, ¿qué pasó? No, como tipo corrupción.
Ajá. O sea, haz lo que tú creas que es el problema más grande. Try to make it one word. You'll specify later, just make it one word.
Or 2 weeks, okay.
How old are you?
Is everybody done? Okay, so if everybody could stand up with their paper like this and try to find people who have the same word, or like something very similar. And just like sit in a table with the people who have the same word. Poverty.
If you find like a similar problem, say it.
Do you all have poverty?
Okay, and if you have like a problem that is absolutely different from anybody, say it like ¿Qué parece esto?
Okay, so each group has approximately like 3 or 5 minutes to create a 3-step plan to solve the issue. So it's kind of like tell us where the money's gonna come from, how you're gonna do this, who's gonna do it, like is it gonna be an NGO, who's gonna help you do this, is it gonna be the government, and it's just a 3-step plan, and you have to explain the problem,
like basically answer 3 easy questions. Who, what, and where. That's all.
So yeah, just like plan with your
If
group.
talk to your group about what you think. Like you have
Even
to
if
come
you're
up
alone,
with,
just
but you have to come up with if you're a group, come up with the problem.
who, when, and what. So just
talk
like
about
where the money's gonna come from, like the 3 steps, and then who's gonna help you, how you're gonna get the money, how are you gonna get this funded, how are you gonna get the people involved.
Y aparte de la estaban de viaje, compraron aviones. Pues eres una organización fundada por las personas de citizens que le ayuda al gobierno a organizarlo, que lo financia el gobierno.
Do you want this?
Pero nosotros dónde sacamos dinero. Donaciones. Y cómo llevamos a las personas. ¿Cómo llevamos a las personas?
Okay, so guys, you have like 1 minute and a half.
Ok, a ver, entonces nuestro
Yeah, so we have to have like 8 minutes. With words.
Sponsors to help finance O sea, sí que digo de que...
Okay, guys, are you
ready?
done?
Okay, 30 seconds. Go.
O sea, una cosa es de que ir con los papás y otra cosa es de que ir a la colonia y ayudar a los chiquitos, de que go to the...
Las familias. Las familias.
Okay, yeah. Whatever you have, it's great because we love your effort. So I would like to ask like one person from each group to like just stand up and tell us really quickly how you would solve the issue. Like what is your
Like 30 seconds.
30 seconds and how you would solve it.
Even if you just want to stand up, like at your table.
Just stand up at your table.
That group.
Please do us the honors.
Who knows the best?
Okay, so our problem is corruption in politicians, mostly those people that are in the authority positions. And it's to who? It's generally to the public, because we're trying to spread public awareness, and to the candidates for them to be ethically and morally better candidates, so that the people actually vote for them because they're honest. What ethics and morals in politicians, like I just said, and where to contribute corruption on their positions of authority. Because that's what we're looking for, like aiming for the politicians that actually are corrupt inside each nation.
Thank you.
No. Who wants to? It's okay. You can just like say it really quickly.
Just say it really quickly. We're a small group. We're all
Well, we were talking about the pollution, so recycling and reusing things like as usual, and using like sustainable energy and sustainable energy, and to find new ways to make them like better, but at the same time use like less resources that can like do pollution around us.
Thank you.
So we focused on poverty, and like we thought about like founding a citizen like organization, and we will get the money from sponsors. Like we will talk to companies so they can donate stuff, and we will want to focus on that problem, like from small to big, and we will go to like poor neighborhoods, and we will do education, like first teaching little kids and parents how to sustain your home.
So finally,
Sí, me permiten decirlo en español.
sí, no te preocupes.
Bueno, está muy de la mano con la corrupción, pero yo lo puse como un poco más específico. Es la débil institucionalidad gubernamental, que tiene este problema por realmente la falta de compromiso de las autoridades y los gobernantes y los intereses políticos que llevan entonces a no cumplir con las cosas que se tienen que cumplir. Y bueno, la propuesta es realmente establecer las políticas claras, los responsables y las consecuencias de cuando no se cumple, el incumplimiento. Después hacer cumplir esas normas o leyes, que ese es el problema, y todo cae otra vez en la educación. Cuando uno está educado, concientizado, capacitado, integrado, informado, entonces puede manejar mejor las cosas y puede entonces hacer cumplir las leyes.
Gracias. Bueno, the purpose of this activity was to see what solutions you all came up with, and if you can see, like each one of them has a little part that, at least a little part that is focused on education. Like you would educate politicians like how to be better, and you would like teach the people how to sustain a good household, and you would like educate the people, and also you have to educate the people how to be sustainable and everything. So everything comes back to education, even if it's in a small scale, and this is why education is so important. And even if we're just planting the seed, I mean, you need the seed like to grow.
So now we would like to give the remaining time to some questions or comments about our project or what we did. Go ahead.
How many kids do you have? Like, okay, you said you were like teaching kids how to speak English and everything, but how many kids at a time?
So the orphanage is like kind of small. There's usually like 15 kids on average.
There's more upstairs, like where they're babies, but we don't really teach them. But we do go up and play with them sometimes. But where we actually teach them is 15 or so kids, which is great, so we can focus.
It's like a small class. Normally it's a little bit less because they're always changing. But yeah, it's from 10 to 15.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear a little bit more about that, like the transition, because if, it's great that kids are constantly getting adopted and, being placed with families, but how does that, does that make it disruptive? Have there been things you can do to help if new kids come in, you get them caught up, just more about that?
There was recently one kid that came in like 2 weeks ago, and his name was Miguel. And at first he would not talk to us, he would go to a corner and sit down and not do anything. But you have to find what each kid really enjoys. So we had another one of our group members, Isa. Her mom is an architect, so she brought like these blocks that would make like a really cool structure. So we gave it to him and we had do whatever you want to it and play with it. And then he would call us every 5 minutes to show us his new awesome building. So that was great because it helped him integrate what we targeted it to him so he could do it alone and then come to us. So that is great, not only to integrate first into the orphanage, but also to integrate after to FAN, which is like what we think is very good.
Yeah, and after that, like the kid just started playing with everybody. And of course, it was also the time, but we did try to like get him to know us because that's really important. At first, they don't trust you at all. They're like, who are these people? And then you have to get them to trust you and everything. And like the first year, they wouldn't respect us at all. And then when we started implementing like, you can't do that, they have started to respect us like a lot more. Like they hit us and everything, and it was kind of. But now they don't hit us, so that's
Yeah.
better. So anybody else? Okay, so if we have time, we can show up a video that the orphanage has, like just to get up there.
Let me check, but I believe it was before 45. Let me,
How long is it? Just starting now. We'll watch till she wears it.
Yeah. It's like 2 minutes.
Like if you want to stay and watch it, I think
The one that we saw.
no, this one is the one that the orphanage made, the video we made.
Oh, it can get larger though. So, good one. Yeah.
So if you want to go, it's okay.
when you like start gathering your things, you have to be ready to leave.
It's in Spanish.
¿Cuándo empieza la siguiente sesión? ¿Cuándo empieza la siguiente sesión? Sí. Es que yo tengo que presentar.
¿Qué onda? Sí. Voy.